Hi, everybody, wherever you may be, from coast to coast and sea to shine and sea. Want to welcome you back to Ham Radio Live, where the world comes to talk radio.
Hang around gas stations. I've been learning about tires. I've been talking to grease monkeys. I've been working on carbs. Boost your soft you, boost them into running back to Saskatoon.
For people that remember this song, right? We did it once before, but got a second request for it yesterday from Erin in, of course, Canada. He loves a song by the Guess Who. It's called Running Back to Saskatoon. Guess Who? Same people who did American Woman. Interesting song, Brain.
I've been learning about books.
But for Canada, this is a very big song from Guess Who.
I've been talking to playwriter. I've been working on words, phrases. Boost your soft you, boost them into running back to Saskatoon. Red Deer Terrace and a medicine hat. Sing another prayer or two. Sing another prayer or two. Prairie!
That's a big song from the Guess Who, and big to Canada as well. John Hummel Newell, first one to request that one there in Canada.
This dude is homegrown.
And welcome back, John. This is big for them.
This dude is homegrown.
So I think we'll play a little more, okay? Yeah, they gotta let the Canadians have a little love here too, right? So here you go, guys. Good song by the Guess Who, talking about kind of a small town as we would think in the States, but big up there. Good song, Running Back to Saskatoon. Wherever you are around the world, I want to welcome you back to the show. It is Monday, August 22nd, 2022, and away we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Shack in Oregon. My name's Larry. My call sign, Amateur Radio, is Kilo 7 Hotel November. Happy Monday. Tuesday, west of the date line. It's an honor to be a part of your day today. Thank you. Before we start the show, I do want to say something that really has been on my heart. Yesterday's show I pulled, and I've never pulled a show before, but it was my own fault, and I want to own it and apologize for it. I made a comment to William in Jacksonville, November 5, Echo Victor Victor, that I really feel terrible about. I didn't mean to have it come out the way it did. And I think when you make a mistake like that, you own it, right? That's the most you can do is own it. And then from there, it has to carry. So we'll just own that and say, William, I'm real sorry. I hope it didn't hurt you too much. I didn't mean it. It literally just came out wrong. That's all it did. Yep, my name is Larry. We're here to help you really get into amateur radio, and not necessarily on shortwave. But if you'd like to get your ticket in amateur radio, the easiest way to do it is get a hold of a big club like the American Radio Relay League. They're equipped to help you around the world wherever you are if you'd like to get your license. Contact them at www.arrl.org. Please hit the Contact Us bar. Just let them know where you're located and you'd like to get your license. They'll then send you an email back that'll have the closest possible amateur radio club to you. And that's so important because you get to know those people and they're going to help you not only with the test to get licensed, right? But also to get on the air. Really special stuff. www.arrl.org. All right, now if you're on WRMI, we welcome you. My shortwave friends around the world, thank you for being here on the bigger show here at Ham Radio Live. We're broadcast worldwide by WRMI on shortwave on these frequencies. I want to thank the folks at Icom for sponsoring this. It's really special. For the love of ham radio, Icom. Thank you, guys. All right, if you by the way, if you work that, you also can get an EQSL card, a real one. Yeah, I'll just mail it to you, and it's simple. You don't have to wait for the mailbox to come in. It's right there. We have a show email at cqhamradiolive@gmail.com and a pretty fun Discord community at ham-radio-live. I'll have a link to it in the description section below. All right, let's get into the weather today. The weather is powered by Icom. Icom, for the love of ham radio. Here's your A1A, and it looks very, very bad.
You have clearance, Clarence.
Yeah,
Roger.
it's really bad. We have a problem of sunspots moving off the sun and no reserve troops coming our way. Now, there is a squared area there, but that's at least a couple of days out on the east limb. You can see the 3 sunspot regions prevalent there, 3085, 3082, and 3084. Those are the sunspots that are currently facing Earth, and hopefully the next one's right there at about 8 o'clock, and possibly another, if you look really carefully, around 10 o'clock, another sunspot region coming. The last few days of sunspot activity in the sun, you can watch them kind of go from left to right. That's east to west on the sun's face. So that's what's been going on. And here is where things get a little interesting in this forecast. A couple of days ago, on Saturday, we didn't have very much activity from the sun. Then yesterday, we had a few little blips, some C flares. And today, the baseline is also coming up, which is great, but we're not getting any M-class flares, nothing to really pump us up. So I expect SFIs to continue to drop slowly. And how much lower it'll go, it really depends on how quickly we get some additional sunspots coming from the east limb. Today, your SFI 97, that's down 5, so it went double digits like we were talking about yesterday and on Friday. Sunspot number is 56. Area number is good, at least that's up to 160. KP index, your noise floors. Here is the good news in the forecast. Noise floors should be quieter tonight, much quieter, as in S0 to S1 quiet. It's very possible. Current KP index is down to a KP2. That's very, very good, and something that hopefully we'll do well. Hold on a second. It actually changed. No, it did. We've got a change in that. It's a KP1 now. So hemispheric power, it's equal both east and west, north and south for the most part. Solar wind, 530.6 kilometers per second. And that's really because we've got just a couple of coronal holes that are facing us right now. That's all. I think this forecast, the 3-day geomagnetic forecast, is a little too harsh. I think tomorrow we'll have much quieter conditions than a KP4. I think we're going to be down in the K2, K3 range, as it says for Tuesday there. So, for Wednesday on this forecast. So we'll see how it goes. I think your noise floors are finally going to be quieter. There's that new KP index, KP1. I thought so. Okay, good. Now, what's interesting about this means noise floors will be down as low as S0 to S1 on the lower bands, which is really great. We have waited nearly an entire week for that to happen. Interplanetary magnetic field, it is pointed north. It was south for part of the day. In fact, it kind of peaked south quite a bit. It was almost to a 1.5, but then it came back up again. So this is good for people in the northern hemisphere. QRZ, the last time I could pull it, right now it's not active, so you can't get the solar weather from them. SFI was 97, sunspot number 53, A index 14. That's elevated. K index is a KP2. And right now that's probably a little more, this is actually more accurate. If you look at this here, this is actually KP1. So that's great conditions. That means geomagnetic field is quiet, where you see signal to noise level. That's the third line from the bottom on the left there. It would be S0 to S1. So that's a big difference. Good to work the nighttime bands. The BZ latitude on this also is not correct. The BZ latitude is actually positive right now. So that's good. PZ latitude's positive. We got better conditions as we go through all of the forecasts. So positive 1.43, and it's going to continue to trend that way. Your ham radio conditions right now, your maximum usable frequencies worldwide, starting in Alaska, right now 14 megahertz out of Anchorage. The U.S.-Canadian border, right there, about 20 megahertz, right along that line. So if you're north of that, you're going to be on 17 meters. If you're south, you're going to be just about on the 15-meter band, but look at how far 20 stretches. It's literally almost from the northern border of the United States to the south border. So right now, 17 meters is really good, both in Canada and in North America. If you're in, of course, the country of South America, you get everything, right? 25 South Venezuela, 37 in some areas today in the middle part of Brazil, 32 north part of Brazil along the Atlantic coast, 27 near Sao Paulo, Brazil, heading towards Africa, a little bit of everything. The northern parts of Africa near Algeria and Mali, 10 meters. As you head south where Winan is, it's right about the 14 megahertz area. So about 20 meters right now for Winan. That's not too bad. That's good conditions for nighttime. 8 megahertz out of Cape Town, Europe. A lot of stuff going on. 16 megs in Great Britain, 16 as well France, 15 in Germany. Of course, the sun has gone down there in that area. 25 in Portugal, 20 Spain, 16 in South Italy as we head to the Far East. Right now, if you're over in Japan, about the 20-meter band, 14 megahertz, along the Gold Coast of Australia right now. conditions aren't too bad. You're right about about almost 30 meters for the most part. But as you head south into Tasmania, 11. So you're just still on 40 meters in the country of Australia. Just hang in there. Better times are ahead, including most likely 15, 12, and 10 as the day goes on. Let's get into a very complicated forecast for today. Your forecast is powered by Icom. Icom for the love of ham radio. Lowering SFIs continue through Wednesday. SFIs could go into the 80s this time around, my friends. High noise floor should subside to S0 to S2 tonight. For the Northern Hemisphere, voice bands today 20, 17, 15, and some 12 and 10, most likely south of about 35 degrees in the Northern Hemisphere. Equatorial latitudes, they have everything 20, 17, 15, 12 in the 10-meter band. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere today, 20, 17, 15, 12, and 10 in the Southern Hemisphere north of 30 degrees south. So it's like a little bit confusing, right? If you're, for example, if you're around Brisbane, you're just a little bit north of the 30 degrees south line. And as you head away and go south, like you keep going south, right, you're going to lose 12 and 10 meter bands. So it's right about Brisbane in Australia. If you're over in where Wyden is, even in Namibia, same thing. You should get 12 and 10 that far south. As you head south from there, though, that's where things go down. On the hammer radio bands tonight, so amateur radio bands, noise floors go down tonight, S0 to S2, most likely around S0, S1 tonight for good conditions to work. Nighttime ham band openings 160, 80, 75, 60, 40, 30. Your best TX, maximum usable frequency at sunset. Sunrise, work 40 meters and keep working it until it doesn't give you DX anymore. Your shortwave bands today, 31, 25, 22 in the 19-meter band. Our shortwave nighttime bands tonight, lowering noise floors on all bands below 41 meters tonight. Nighttime shortwave 120, 90, 75, 60, 49, and 41, and they'll be much quieter today. 31, 25, 22, and the 19-meter band still open in the Northern Hemisphere about 60 minutes after sunset, and your signals will fade away. Thanks for coming to the show today. A very happy Monday. Tuesday west of the Dateline. This is going to be partially a repeat of yesterday. They had to pull the show. There's a few questions that are the same on the general exam as there were yesterday, but I got new questions to fill in as well. So it's a 5 and 5. 5 new, 5 old from yesterday. Different topic questions today too. Today's topic question, what controls do you use most on your radio? And when I talk about controls, what I mean is, let's say, for example, on your shortwave radio, right? You may be really into using the RF gain knob, right? You're going to use RF gain and you're going to ride that up to bring the stations in a little better. If you're in amateur radio, you might use the bandpass filters to try and squeeze out some noise. You might use noise reduction. You could use your RF gain. Let me know what you use and we will make it part of today's show. All right, let's figure this out from first, seconds, and thirds around the world, and thanks for being here.
Who's on first? What's on second? I don't know who's on third.
First one in today, all the way from the Emerald Isle of Ireland, Kevin O'Doublehead. Give him a big old beep, beep.
Beep, beep.
Hi, Kev. Good evening. All the way in Ireland. That's so cool, man. I'm grateful you're here. I hope you and your family are very well. You've done that now. I think this is like the 4th time if my notes are right. It's number 4. Congratulations, Kevin. That's pretty sweet. Tony joins us from the East Coast of the United States. Tony, welcome. You are second place. Almost made it too. You guys kind of went boom and then boom, boom, boom. Everybody came in at the same time. That was fun. Cliff Boltz, third in from the Commonwealth of Virginia. His call sign, Whiskey Delta 4 Oscar Bravo Papa. Welcome to the show, my friend. It's always good to have you. I hope we have fun today. I hope so. Hi, Ron. Ron is here. His channel is Victor Alpha 3 Foxtrot Union Charlie. And what's cool is Ron's Ham Radio Club just worked the ISS, which is really a neat thing to do. I was looking for the video, Ron. If you can send it to me on email, my QRZ email is good. Please do that. I'd love to be able to share that with people. That's a neat thing to do. Because what you have to do, for most people that may not know for the space station, if you're working the ISS, you pretty much have to reserve your spot, or you just get lucky when they're going over. And I think for a lot of us, we would love to have the opportunity to see what you did. I think that's pretty cool. William Myers, welcome. Wisconsin's here. Kilo Alpha 8 Golf India. Mike, welcome. Happy Monday. Yes. And my dear friend Charlie from Red Summit RF. Charlie just did a really cool video that he had with This guy that just did so stinking well on Parks on the Air Awards. I mean, he won like the Chaser Award. He won like multiple awards. They're making jokes about it, saying they're going to have to send like a box to him so they could get all of his plaques to him. That was so cool what you did with Brian Duddy. Charlie, good work, man. That was nice. That was nice. Really cool. And Brian, he's done amazing. He just got his general ticket last year. And I reached out to him and I asked him, I'd love to have you as a guest to talk about being a new amateur, how you did it to be able to achieve so much. DXCC, he's got, Europe, Master of North America. I believe you have Master of South America too, plus all U.S. counties. He has worked his radio to death, that man. Well done, Brian Duddy. That's really cool. He's done a lot. Wynan joins us all the way from Africa. Wynan, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thanks for coming in today. As I always look forward to seeing you and on the excitement of how much you love being on the chat. Wynan's call sign, Victor 51 Whiskey Whiskey. Welcome. I was stalling just a little bit there, trying to find Africa in the sound effects. Oh no. Kill, welcome. Lima Bravo Zero Yankee India joins us all the way from Norway. It's nice to have you. I'm going to change that right now. I'm going to move Africa back up because I'm always searching for it. When he comes, it's like, oh no, I don't want to be doing that every time. So now we won't have that problem ever again. Hi, Rob. Tucson's here. November 7, Tango Alpha. Welcome to the show. Nice group today. It's a nice, fun group. Avery joins us from Georgia, Kilo 4, Victor Romeo Yankee, brand new amateur extra and growing like a weed, I bet. Yes. Man, young lady just working hard, getting her ticket. That is so cool. Very proud of you. Very proud of you, Avery. Ham Radio QRP. That would be Kevin from Iowa, Kilo 0, Kilo Lima Bravo. Want to have fun on YouTube? Take a look at his channel. He just makes things work that's so much fun. Kevin, it's an honor to have you. Thanks, mate. Yep. Will from Central California, Kilo November 6, Tango Zulu Kilo. Part of the group today. Hi, Will. Probably still in triple digits where he's at. Very, very hot. John Hummel Newell, loved that song from Running Back to Saskatoon. Victor Echo 5 Juliet Hotel November. He also lives in the province of Canada, where Saskatoon's a big deal to go to. So he was actually the first one to request a song. Today, Erin was the second one, so we got that one in. Ron Walensky, Washington State, is here from the beautiful city of Monroe. November 8, Whiskey Charlie Romeo. Happy Monday to you, Ron. Nice to see you. This group. Jeff joins us from Portland. His call sign Alpha Delta 7 Lima November. Giant Roar from Africa with Wynan. And Andy New is here. Mike 7 Charlie Union November all the way from the UK. Nice to see you, Andy. Nice group today. It's a good group. Let's see, Will, listening to Larry playing Minecraft. On with the show. This is it. Oh no. Oh my. Hey, we've got continent number 3. That would be Tom in Bahrain. Alpha 92 Golf Whiskey. Good evening, Tom. Man. 10:21 at night, and here he is. Nice to have you. Thanks, Tom. Roger McKeon and Molly join us from Spokane, Washington. Kilo Juliet 7, Lima X-Ray, and K9. Welcome to the show, guys. Good to see you both. Nice to see you guys. Let's see. Ken, hi from Florida. Been a ham since 1959. Whoa. Ken, seriously, it's nice to meet you. My name's Larry. It's an honor to have you. Welcome to Ham Radio Live. His call sign, Kilo 4 Hotel Yankee Victor. Ken, it's truly a pleasure to have you. Thank you for coming. Wow. 1950. Man, you have seen so much change in amateur radio. Think about that. You know, what he has seen in amateur radio starting in 1959 to today. Oh, wow. Ken, you're always welcome here. Thank you for being here today. It's an honor to have you part of the show. Wow. I just think of just the radio changes. Think of the television changes from 59. Robert Varner's here. Kilo Charlie 2, Tango Echo Lima. Welcome to you. Hope you're doing well, Robert. A very happy Monday. Andy New says, I use RF gain mostly. That's our topic question today. What controls do you use most on your radio? Okay, shortwave, amateur radio, AMDX. What is it? Andy says, RF gain mostly is what he uses. Thank you, Andy. Wynan in Africa, RF gain in his bandpass filter. So what Wynan's doing, if you're new to amateur radio, when he says bandpass, what he's talking about is, think about like a funnel, right? The funnel is like this big, and you're trying to hear a weak signal. within this area right here. As you squeeze down the band, of course, the signal can be a little bit more difficult to hear sometimes, but the noise goes away, the static goes away more. So you're able to hear more of what's being sent and not so much of the static. That's a nice comment. The RF gain helps to make everything more level, so it brings up the signal just a little more. So if you're working someone weak, you can bring up your RF gain, hear them a little bit better, try and squeeze them out in the bandpass filter, and make a wonderful call with someone far away. Why, a nice comment. Thank you. Thank you. William Myers in Wisconsin, what I use most is the noise reduction filter and RF gain. There you go. And, if you're just using a couple of things, those are excellent. One brings up the signal, one takes noise out of the signal. Thank you. Nice comment. Nice comment. Kevin says, all is well. Hope everything well with you and your family. Things are good. Thanks, Kevin. Nice to see you tonight. Congratulations on coming in first. W. Kirby, Whiskey 4 Hotel. No. Oh, no. You know what time this is. I got to find it. Time for the woofing filter to be activated.
Some bitch.
Yep, there we go.
Don't you cuss on this here radio.
I apologize to all the friendly folk who are listening.
Oh, my goodness. Some of you guys may not know where that came from. Thor in Minnesota started with that. Kilo Zero Tango Juliet Tango came up with that. You need a woofing filter, so that's our woofing filter. Ken says DX10. That's his radio. He uses digital noise reduction. Excellent on that radio. Really is. It's hard to describe to people who may not understand how noise reduction works. Think of it as a way where you can kind of close off everything but keep the signal there, so you're able to hear the signal more clearly. That would be the way Ken does it. Ken, thank you. Nice comment. Nice comment. Scotty D, welcome. He uses DNR, noise blanker, his notch control, and his contour. So he's using a Yaesu rig. All of those, it's interesting of those four. So digital noise reduction kind of brings down the noise and keeps the signal so you can hear it better, right? Noise blanker kind of keeps the noise from various electronic things that are near you, say like electric fences, if you're near those, helps to mitigate that noise. Your notch filter helps to change the way the audio sounds within the bandpass. It kind of can, like say for example, you've got a signal here and there's another one right over here that's kind of causing you a little bit of interference. The notch helps you to take out that station that's nearby. So that's good. Then the contour is what changes. I said the notch filter changed it. The contour on Yaesu rigs, it's kind of like a high cut and a low cut filter. It changes how the audio sounds within that pass band. So we talked about a pass band before, how they work when you squeeze out the noise. You can also put a third little element within that, kind of goes up top, and you adjust the frequency of the signal coming in so you can really tune it in better for your ears. Scotty, that's a nice comment. Thank you. Nice comment. Yeah, it's true. Same thing. When I had my FTDX 101s and also the FTDX 10, I would often have to use the contour feature in order to try and get enough of that signal to hear it better. That's why I love what Scotty said. Thanks again, Scotty. Dwight Hitchens, my shortwave mate. This will be fun. Looking forward to this. Yes, I am. He says on sideband, his BFO knob, and on shortwave radio, it is called a BFO. It's different. It's a beat frequency oscillator. What it does is kind of the same thing as we use here when we're using RF gain in a way. It's kind of a way to kind of bring the signal in a little better. And he says he uses that when he's trying to DX some SSB stuff from the ham bands. Dwight, that's nice. Thank you. We're going to have a neat video today. Tom sent it from, not a video, it's a picture of a classic Sony radio. I had one. It's beautiful. The IC 6800W. It's an amazing radio. It really was. It was made in the 80s. But Tom, I love that fact you sent me that. That was really, really cool. Roger McKeon from Washington State, the lock button, DNR and RF gain. That's good. Okay. The lock button, Roger, I'm going to guess it's an FTDX 10. I could be wrong. But I used the lock button first when I had the FTDX 10 because my fingers, if I hit any of the noise reduction or DSP functions of the radio, I would just touch that VFO, the tuning knob, just enough so it would bring it maybe off frequency. So I would always go to lock first, and then I would work the noise reduction, the bandpass filters, and all the other digital signal processing that the FTDX10 has. It's an amazing bit of kit, really is. He also uses digital noise reduction plus his RF gain. Roger, nice comment, nice combination. Thank you. I got to ask, is it an FTDX10? Because that's where I'm at. Same thing. I did the same thing. Michael Barnes, welcome. That's another first timer. Welcome to Ham Radio Life. Mike, I'm Larry. Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming. Hi, Larry. Call sign Whiskey Alpha 7 Sierra Kilo, Germany. That is so cool. Thanks for coming, Michael. All the way up the road in Dallas, 10 miles away from me. Are you kidding? That's awesome, man. Thank you. Michael, nice to have you. What a treat. That's really nice. That makes me happy. Ron Walensky, he's really smart. He uses the power button. No! Very good. Well, Ron, thank you so much. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What we're dealing with here is a complete lack of respect for the law.
Ron has that radio that when he turns it on, everything just works brilliantly and there's no problem at all. Yep. Pretty much, yep. Just power it up. Wow, it works great. That's awesome, Ron. Actually, I'm laughing because it's funny. Thank you, Ron. That made my day. Thanks, buddy. That's fun. Ron says only 13 likes and we have 31 watching. Oh, Ron, thank you. It's nice. Thanks, buddy. Grateful to be here. Will in California, I use RF gain to bring in the signal. Very good. And then the bandpass and notch filters to zero in on the signal. Usually I use it for Morse code. I'll use the notch on SSB to make it a bit clearer. Will, that's a lot of typing. He put a lot of effort into that. Will, that's nice. Nice comment. Mm-hmm. I'm very impressed. Earlier, use it for Morse code to help to hear it better. And then for sideband, he's using notch and SSB, on SSB to help to notch out some of the noise. Nice thing. Thank you. Well, by the way, how's the antenna project? Is it working better? He put up a new antenna. Really a little too high. And I hope you didn't get too hurt doing that. Well, because it's a neat project. You put the dipole wire up really high. And then the sides, he's trying to get them up higher into trees. But right now he's making amazing calls. Will, that's great. Neat that you built it yourself out of speaker wire. And then it works. That's just so cool. That's what I love about amateur radio. They find a way. Give an amateur some cardboard, a little bit of string, and maybe some bubble gum, and they'll put together an amazing antenna. It's very, very true. Very true. Rod Bish, we're going to celebrate you today again, doggone it. We lost the video yesterday. I said, okay, the celebration part for Rod, I'm keeping. That's not going to go. So we're going to do it again. Most used RF gain, notch filter, and most of all, VFO and ears. That's really an important thing. I think as radio has come to this point, like for example, Ken's been an amateur since 1959. How radio has changed so much into looking at things like this, right? We look at waterfalls and what they do. We'll go back to 20 so we get a little bit more waterfall, a little more activity here, right? So bringing it down, and a lot of people will look at a screen, right? Because they see signals there, and they will tune to find the signal. But there are so many signals you may not hear by just listening. Rod, that's a nice comment. Thank you very much for that. Very nice comment. Yeah, thank you, Rod. Welcome, Nikolai from Romania, Yankee Oscar 8, November, India Kilo. Good afternoon to you too, mate. Good to see you as well. Thank you. Let's see. This is great. Look at this. We've got Delta Echo 2 Tango Romeo Foxtrot first timer and welcome. It's so nice. Look at that. German SWL is a German SWL call. Juliet Oscar 6 0 Echo Lima. That is so nice. And his call sign for amateur radio, Delta Echo 2 Tango Romeo Foxtrot. Wow. It's nice to meet you. My name's Larry. Thank you very, very much for being here today. Wow. I am so impressed. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's really cool. It really is. Neat. Roger says, nope, it wasn't the FTDX10. It was the FT991A. Yeah, close. Andy knew the 70s/80s Sony receivers were iconic if you could afford them, and they were very expensive. Sony was kind of the top of the heap then. So was Grundig. Grundig was made in Germany back then, and they were phenomenal receivers. Excellent selectivity and sensitivity on those, but they were expensive. You got what you paid for, though. Great stuff back there. Yeah, great start. And like Ron says, you have to start somewhere, LOL, with that power button, right? Tom said on this radio that's coming up, he says, I bid on that radio, but went over $300, so stop bidding. Shipping costs are outrageous these days. Let it go. I have better ways to spend $300 plus dollars. No kidding. Really, 300 plus, man. Yeah, a lot of money. But still, though, I mean, what an amazing radio. It was in great condition. We'll show that in just a little bit. Tom, thank you again for showing that. Will says the antenna that's up 31 feet is a G5RV Junior that my Elmer had, and it's working amazingly. Thanks, Ron. That's really cool. Kevin says, I made an inverted V antenna out of the inner core of some low-loss coax. It worked great. It was resonant on 20 meters. And, you know, what he's built is a double bazooka. That's what that is. I was really surprised because I didn't know about that antenna until I went to a local ham radio outlet to see it. And sure enough, it's coaxial cable. It's all made out of coax, the double bazooka. And it makes incredible calls, too. We just get it up high. It works great. Kevin, thank you very, very much for that. Indeed, that's great. And my goodness, you are very welcome. My gosh, Delta Echo 2 Tango Romeo Foxtrot. What a true treat. What a pleasure for me. Thank you. Nice to have you. Dave in Temecula, California, Whiskey 6 Charlie Rodeo Tango. Welcome to the show. Always good to have you. Hope you're feeling better, buddy. Hope you are. Andy Bronson, Mike 7 X-Ray Tango Tango. Welcome back. He's got to be RF gain and attenuator. And that's the first time we've seen attenuator. Digital noise reduction. And then I use the most. So what he's doing, he'll bring the signal up with RF gain, he'll attenuate out the noise, and then he'll use his digital noise reduction and then shift within the bandpass frequency to hear the signal and zero in on it. Andy, that's a nice comment. Thank you. Nice work. Nikolai in Romania, I find myself using the 2.5 kilohertz step tuning knob very often because I tune across the band faster and I always land on a 0.5 or a 0 frequency, which I later adjust with the main VFO. So for new people with that, what he's talking about is he'll take the radio where you tune it, right, and speed it up. So he's not necessarily hearing signals that are on, you know, like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, or 9. He's going 5s and 0s. And then as he does that, he may hear a part of a signal, then he'll fine tune in. That's what he does. Nikolai, thank you. Nice comment. It is. Kevin, one of the best parts of our hobby is experimenting with little different antennas and designs. And that's how we learn too, right? Kevin, I've learned so much about antennas, especially when they don't work. You know, when they're too low or something's not connected well and it just doesn't work well. So you just try again. It's really nice. Kevin, thank you for that. Gary Strong joins us. Las Vegas, Nevada's here. Whiskey 9 Papa Yankee, welcome to you. By the way, I did forget to do this. I haven't done this for a long time, and I don't know why. Tom, you have my sincere apologies for not doing this for you. But I try to play songs like for Rodney when Rodney comes, and, you know, when other people come to the channel just to be fun, like Wine, and we play the song from Africa there, little squidge of little tidbit from the people from Toto, which is kind of fun. I forgot Ron. I'm sorry, Tom's again today. Yeah. Sorry, Tom. He's a smart guy. For people who don't know Tom, Alpha 92 Golf Whiskey, he's intelligent as heck. The guy can write code for flight simulators, and it's just phenomenal what Tom knows how to do. Tom, it's always a pleasure to have you. Thanks for coming today. It's late. Mike McCrae, first timer. Hello to all from Aberdeen, Scotland. Welcome to you. It's nice to meet you, Mike. Thank you for coming today. What an honor to meet you. Truly. Thank you for being here. Wow, a fun group. Some new people and some old. Nice to have you all. Eamon Azar joins us November 9th. Sierra Echo Sierra, a very good day to you. And there is our friend Jenna. Hi, Jenna, all the way from Ringgold, Georgia. Yes, where it's thundering and lightning sometimes, and she loves it. Welcome, Jenna. She loves thunderstorms. So I thought, why not? Look at this. Chris changed it. Look at the top of it. He's got this really nice font now. That's digital analog ham. 2 Echo 0 Union Kilo Hotel, all the way from the UK. Hi, Chris. Good evening to you. Thank you for coming today. Nice to have you. Ron says, the only controls I use in the radio is the volume and the VFO knob. Everything else I use rig control on the computer, so it sets the noise blanker, the ANF, and maybe noise reduction. Okay, so Ron works his from his computer. Thank you, Ron. That helps us understand better. Yeah, turn the power button on, work it on the computer. Very nice. All right, we're going to get into Ham Bites. Today, Ham Bites are powered by HamTestOnline, the software that knows you. All you have to do is get a hold of them at www.hamtestonline.com, and they have a guarantee, 100% money back guarantee if you don't pass your test. Now, this is only for us here in the States. So people outside the United States, they don't have a license for you guys there, a syllabus, but here in the States, they do. Find them at www.hamtestonline.com. First question, and we'll do an all-in just a moment. That's when everyone gets a chance to play, okay? Little water to get started. Okay. What is the combined vertical and horizontal polarization pattern of a multi-wavelength horizontal loop antenna? Now, this might surprise you if you don't know. On a horizontal loop, the polarization, all right, the vertical polarization is virtually omnidirectional. Yeah, it really is. It also has a lower peak vertical radiation angle than a dipole, which is interesting, right? That's what loops do. So when you're using a multi-wave horizontal loop antenna, you're going to have virtually omnidirectional pattern with a lower peak vertical radiation angle than a dipole. So this could be on the horizon a bit lower, and that's what helps make them work better. The other thing about them, it's interesting, is they have a narrow Q, which means that you constantly are tuning them for SWR to keep them in the band. But still, they work phenomenally for people who could be maybe, sight restricted, HOAs, stuff like that. It helps you stay on the air. That's a good question. Next question, in what part of the 13 centimeter band may an amateur station communicate, and here's the key point, with non-licensed Wi-Fi stations? This would be assuming, like you could work with somebody from their Wi-Fi router and say hello. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. You can't do that. We can't communicate with anyone that's on a Wi-Fi station. It just don't do it. Amateurs have our own band, and we work that band. But if someone from out of band somehow comes in, we make sure and not communicate because we can't. That's how it works. All right, what is the approximate length? Now, this is the key point for a half wave. For a half wave dipole antenna that's cut for 14.250 megahertz, okay? The answer here is 33 feet. That's the approximate length for the antenna. Remember, we're talking about a half wave antenna. That's the key. If this was a quarter wave, it's roughly going to be about 16.4 feet. That's why we've got 33 feet for a double. That's it. So if you were to do this, right, you want to figure out what the formula is. It's pretty simple. All you do is you divide the 4, 6, 8. Sorry, I had to think of it because I usually do quarter wave antennas, and that kind of got me. Yep. All right, so you would go 468 divided by 14.250. That's a half wave. So 468 divided by 14.250, and you get 32.84 feet. So that's where 33 feet comes from. So remember this formula. If you're doing a half wave, you're going to be at 468 divided by frequency. If it's a quarter wave, you'll be half of that. So 234 divided by frequency, it'll give you the answer every time. All right, next, what is the efficiency of an RF power amplifier? How is it determined? So how is the efficiency of an RF power amplifier determined? The answers, there's two of them here, right in the middle, okay? Let's look at all four. Number one, add the RF input power to the DC output power. That's not how you do it. 2, divide the DC input power by the DC output power. That's not the answer. Number 3, or C, would be divide the RF output power by the DC input power. That's it. That's it. You see how different it is from number 2? Number 2 says divide the DC input power by the DC output power. The reason why C is right, and by the way, number 4, or D, would be multiply the RF input power by the reciprocal of the RF output power. That's not it. Watch this one very, very carefully. You're going to divide the RF output power of the amplifier by the DC input power it has. If you answer it that way, you'll have it correct. Okay, don't get stuck with number 2 or B, which is divide the DC input power by the DC output power. That would be wrong. It would be wrong. Okay, next we're going to do what we call an all-in for everybody. This is when we all get a chance to answer the question, and hopefully you guys have a little fun here. All right, which of the following can be the result of an incorrectly adjusted speech processor? Okay, so you haven't adjusted your speech processor right, but boy, are you screaming out there with your signal. Oh boy. Which can happen? A, distorted speech. B, splatter. C, excessive background pickup. Or D, all three choices are correct. A, B, C, or D. See who gets it right first. Good luck. Working on speech processing. Let's see. First one in today. By the way, I want to welcome Country Strong and Free. Welcome. It's nice to have you back. We've missed you, buddy. We have missed you. Andy New, first in from the UK. Mike 7. Charlie November says D. All of these choices are correct, and he is right. There, it's true. Yep. Every one of those things is right. Yeah, you'll get, if you have an incorrectly adjusted, processor on Icom rigs, it's called compression, but it's the same thing. You could have distorted speech, you could have splatter on the band, and you could have excessive background pickup. That means all the choices are correct on this one. Let's see who else got this one. Tom in Bahrain got it right. William Myers in Wisconsin got it right. Will in California got it. Nikolai in Romania has it. Jenna in Georgia has it. And let's see, Andy's got it in the UK. Mike, WZ9Z, welcome. Oh, is that cool or not? Hi, Mike. Nice to have you. Really is. Welcome to the show. Kevin also got it right in Ireland, which is good. Yeah, if you do this, you're going to have all of the choices happen to you. So you could have distorted speech. Someone would say you sound a bit distorted, mate. You could be splattering, and this is where you see in a waterfall, like it goes way beyond the band pass. It's really sticking out with these sharp edges from it. And the third one, excessive background pickup. All of those things can happen if you've incorrectly adjusted your processing on your radio. Okay. All right. We're almost through these. Next question. Which of the following may apply in areas under FCC jurisdiction outside of ITU Region 2? All right. So you're outside of Region 2. And you brought your radio along for the ride, okay? Let's see if these four. Morse code may not be permitted. That's not right. B, station identification may have to be in a language other than English. That's not it. C, digital transmission may not be permitted, and that's not either. The answer is D. Frequency allocations may differ, okay? When we go to other ITU regions, there is a big difference. Sorry, I thought I had the slide there for that. There's a big difference with where you can transmit and where you can't. For example, on 40 meters outside the states, you can't go from 7.2 up to 7.3. That's a good example of how the band plans are different. So just make sure you know the band plan where you're going and stay within the rules. You'll be fine. All right. Generally, who should respond to a station in the contiguous 48 states who calls CQDX? All right, so you got a mate out there calling CQDX, and for example, they're in Colorado. Who should reply? A, any caller's welcome to respond? No, because he's calling CQDX. CQDX call is you're calling for someone outside of your country. And here in the States, I know Alaska is separate and so is Hawaii. Those are considered DX here in the States. So if you're calling CQDX and you're in Alaska or Hawaii, answer the call. But if you're in another contiguous state here within the continental U.S., you don't respond to it. So the answer here would be generally who should respond to a station in the contiguous 48 states who calls DX. The answer is number 2, or B, any stations outside the lower 48 states. The answer that way, you've got it correct, all right? This is that map I was showing you earlier, but it got misplayed into the show, and I'm sorry about that. When we change IARU regions, okay, the International Telecommunication Union, you can see how things are different, right? Greenland to Hawaii in North America is going to be Region 2, going down to Central America and all of South America. But when you move to Region 3, which is Asia and Australia and all of the islands here in the South Pacific, for the most part, that's Region 3, and you can't go above 7.2 there. If you're in Region 1, which is Europe, Russia, the Middle East, and Africa, They can't go from 7.2 to 7.3 megahertz either. Know your band plan where you're going. Just make sure you do that before you leave, and you won't be out of band, which could really get you in trouble. Next question, what is the minimum allowable discharge voltage for a maximum life of a standard 12-volt lead-acid battery? So we're trying to find out, literally, okay, what voltage should it be right before you get rid of it and replace it or recharge it, right? The answer is C, 10.5 volts. That's the minimum allowable discharge for a 12-volt lead-acid battery, 10.5. If it goes below that, recharge it. If it won't recharge, time to replace the battery with another battery. All right, next question. What does the Q signal QSL mean? QSL means I acknowledge receipt. Some people will say it means I understand or I've got it. It just means I acknowledge receipt. Q codes are really for Morse code because it's simpler to use 3 letters than it is to type out I acknowledge receipt in Morse code. So we use it also on sideband though. So if you hear QSL when someone's responding to a call, that's what they're saying. I understand. I've acknowledged receipt of your call. Okay, that's it. All right, one more. That's it. Which size of fuse, and I redid this one for a reason. Yep. Which size of a fuse or circuit breaker would be appropriate to use with a circuit that uses average wire gauge number 14 wiring? This would go with a 15 ampere fuse, 15 amps, okay? And remember, 15 amperes would be a number 14 wire. 20 amps would be a 12 average wire gauge wire. The reason this is on the test, and the sister to this is, what wiring would you use with a 20 amp service? That would be number 12, average wire gauge number 12. The reason why this is here is so that you don't burn up your house. That's why it's there. Truly, that's the honest reason why. Most ham shacks are going to be put into either a bedroom circuit or another circuit that is 15 amp service. That's the truth. But then when you add so you got the radio, the tuner, and that's it. You're good. You got your computer, perfect. But when you add an amplifier, that changes everything. All of a sudden, as you're transmitting, your light starts flickering in your room, and pretty soon you've popped the circuit breaker. That's why they want you to know this. Don't change out the circuit breaker for a 15 amp service with a 20 amp circuit breaker, because you're going to heat the wiring up in your walls and it could cause a major fire. Instead, put a 20 amp dedicated circuit where you're going to use your radio. That way you're not overusing the circuit and blowing the circuit breaker all the time. But remember, when you go to 20 amp, the wire gauge changes too. It goes to number 12 instead of 14. Ham Bites general exam questions are powered by HamTestOnline, the software that knows you. 100% money back guarantee if you fail the test. My friends, you can find them online at www.hamtestonline.com. It's a beautiful Monday here in the Northwest. It's nice to see you guys. Before I get your comments, and by the way, today's topic question is a fun one. What controls do you use most on your radio? If you were asking me this with shortwave, I would be different than I'm with an amateur radio. I'll get to that in just a moment. Before we do that, let me show you what I showed yesterday because I didn't want it to be missed. We've been involved in a really big solar event that has caused a lot of disruption to not only amateur radio bands, but also the shortwave bands. A lot of solar wind and really high noise floors, plus plummeting SFIs. Hasn't caused a great deal of joy, but on the test, remember there's a question. What usually precedes a major solar storm? The answer is improved conditions. Let me show you conditions at my QTH right before the storm hit last week. Look at the Morse code. I never seen that much Morse code on my radio ever on 40. We get to 20, not much there.
Last night on this band, it was packed.
Yeah, and what we saw was on 40 meters, it was just, man, sure, there were just Morse code all over it. Within about 3 or 4 hours, everything just crashed. You couldn't see the Morse code anymore, and 40 was pretty well gone then too. Conditions have changed quite a bit since then, and they'll rebound. We're in the middle of the solar cycle increase, and we're going to have such great days coming. And I promise 10 meters will be part of the package. But I wanted to show that one more time because it was kind of neat. It really shows how that question on the test is true. Before a solar storm, conditions will drastically increase and then they crash. All right, let's find out real quick about a brand new radio that's coming out from Icom. It's called the Icom 905. Now, I've done this too many times, I know. But this time, hopefully the video sticks and you get to see it all. This is a very interesting radio, and I need to start this out with a disclosure. Icom sponsors a shortwave show that I do on WRMI out of Okeechobee, Florida. It's called CQ Calling. I'm really honored that they do, but I don't have any inside track knowledge about what Icom's doing, whether it be, their future products, when they're going to release them, or anything. They don't tell me that stuff. They just sponsor the shortwave show. So I don't have any inside information, but what I can tell you about it is it's a phenomenally cool sounding radio. If you're interested in working areas that are not workable with any radio right now, okay, and I'm talking in gigahertz, all the way to 10 gigahertz, this radio could be exceptionally special for you coming out of Icom. This is really a neat radio. And one of the things that was really important for them to try and overcome with this thing was how to deal with lossy line going to the antenna. When we're in the technician license, right? Technician section 9, question B05. What happens as the frequency of a signal in coaxial cable is increased? The answer here is the loss increases. How much? Take a look. This is just 3 brands of coax, right? And we're talking a radio that goes to 10 gigahertz. This only goes to 400 megahertz. Look at the loss. An RG8U, it's 3.9 dB per 100 feet. RG8U, 8.4 dB out of 100 feet of coax. RG8U low loss, 2.7 dB in 100 feet of coax. Icom had to get rid of a lot of problems and solve them. One of them was this. This was a big, big deal for them to overcome because lossy line is hard to overcome, right? So you have to find a way to deal with the lossy line between the radio and the antenna. The second thing they had to come up with was how to keep the radio stable. We're talking in gigahertz now. HF is pretty simple. Icom and Yaesu and other companies figured out a way to keep their radios stable with a stable clock speed. Icom found a way to deal with that issue too, keeping your frequency stable by sending a 1 pulse per second signal directly to the radio to keep it on frequency. Let's take a brief look at a video I put in for the Icom IC 905, hopefully to be released here within the next 6 to 8 months or so. Hello, everybody. My name is Larry. My call sign in amateur radio is Kilo 7 Hotel November. I'd like to welcome you to my channel here on YouTube called Ham Radio Live. We do typically a daily talk show. It's almost on every day, about 1900 UTC, that's noon Pacific here in the States, where we talk about various parts of radio. We'd love to have you join us sometime. It's called Ham Radio Live. Today, I'm going to talk about a brand new radio that's coming out from Icom. It's called the Icom IC 905, and you read that right at the top, up to 10 gigahertz to work on that radio. It's amazing. Now, the full information about the rig, it will do 2 meters, 70 sems, 23 sems. It will also go into the bands that are the fine print, literally on your band plan. No kidding. Some people may not have even noticed this. The text below 23 centimeters. See how it says all licensees except novices are authorized to all modes on the following frequencies? And then it has, of course, 2300 to 2310, and then it goes to 2390, 2450 megahertz, and so forth and so on. This radio will go all the way to that 10 gigahertz band, and it's going to do it with some help. There's optional antennas in order to make the radio work. Now, when you purchase the radio, it basically comes with multiple components, and I'll show you those components the best I can. The controller, which is the same as the 705, same in dimensions to the Icom 705, is going to be, whether you're in remote work, you're out in the, on a summit or something like that, you would have the radio, and you'd have a LAN cable connecting the radio to what's called the RF module. So instead of using coax or parallel feeder line, you would use a LAN cable to go from the radio to the RF module. From the RF module, then you have a very short run of coaxial cable, so you don't have much loss in your signal out to your antenna. That's essentially how it would all work. There are a few components with this radio, okay? First of all, it was called the Super High Frequency Project by Icom. And this is something they've really worked hard to tackle. Take a close look at the radio. Let's get you a little better view. The radio itself, again, same as the 705 in its dimension. However, instead of having any sort of coaxial cable connector on it, it has a LAN cable output. The LAN cable is necessary because, as we know from theory, when we become technicians, even back in the technician license, this question, technician section 9 and then B05, what happens is the frequency of a signal, in coaxial cable is increased. Well, as the signal is increased in coaxial cable, the loss increases. The answer here is D. You get a skin effect loss, especially with coaxial cable, when you start going way up on the very tiny wavelengths of microwave, which is what this really is. So the SHF project was something that was announced at Tokyo Ham Fair here on the 20th of August, 2022. The radio is part of the package. The second part is the RF module. This is a prototype look of it. This is what they show here. It's different than the video that Icom put out. But you see there's a 5.6 gigahertz antenna connector and a 2.4 gigahertz antenna connector there. Also, there's a GPS antenna connector. And that GPS is very, very important because this radio works very differently than many radios you've ever heard of. For example, it uses the LAN cable for a reason. First of all, it's less lossy. And second, they can send voltage over that LAN cable to help to mitigate the loss between the radio and the RF module. That could be substantial. I mean, just a huge amount. Look at just this. Here's some example of just regular coax, RG8U, 58U, RG8U low loss. Even you get to 400 megahertz, 2.7 dB loss per 100 feet. We're talking 100 meters of cable here. So look at RG58U. You go 400 megahertz, which this radio will go up to 10. So it'll be at, 10 gig. So that would be, at 1,000 megahertz. I mean, you'd more than double that. It would be more than 17 dB of loss in that cable. So what Icom did was Icom put together a way that they wouldn't have loss in the cable by using power over Ethernet technology. So there would be a voltage on that line that would go up to the RF module to keep the frequency, to keep the radio transmission with the same power as much as possible from the head unit up to the antenna. Now, power, what's the power ranking? If you're on 2 meters, this radio is 10 watts. That's what it's about. When you get up to 10 gigahertz, it's 0.5 watts. So it's 500 milliwatts, basically. That's where it's at. Well, how will that work? Well, if you have a great gain antenna, which you can get optionally as well for this radio, you could do quite well, honestly, with that. As you go up in power, the transmitting power decreases in terms of maximum power that would be run out of the Icom IC 905. So that's one of the pieces that's very important. The second piece has to do with the radio itself and how it will handle frequency stability. This is really important. And they cover it here in this slide, barely able to see it. It's the fourth one down, advanced frequency stability with a GPS 1 point per second signal. Okay, so that's pulse per second, 1 pulse per second signal. So in essence, this radio will have a 1 pulse per second signal to keep the clock speed up so the frequency will remain stable throughout your use. Otherwise, even with an OXCO, there would be a tremendous loss, up to 12 kilohertz over 10 years span. So a lot of loss there in terms of frequency stability. This will help it stay accurate with a 1 pulse per second signal generator. I mean, they've thought of a lot of things here. This could be an extremely groundbreaking radio if this comes out from Icom when it does. And that gives you an idea of the radio. And then Icom has released a great video that was well done that explains everything, how this works. I'll put a link to it in the description section of this video. The Icom 905. And I think I'm going to come up with a question this week where we'll talk about that radio. And would you be interested in working those bands? Because right now we don't have radios that do that for the most part. Would you be interested in working at 5 gig or at, 10 gig? Kind of interesting, right? Because we do a lot of things in amateur radio. We use bands like, for example, 23 SEMs. A lot of people use 23, or they go to 70 and they're using directional antennas to work satellites that are passing by. Would you use this radio? Interesting. Think it'd be fun. They've had some pretty big influence from people who said, gosh, let's get it. Make it now. We'll use it. It'll be interesting to see how well the radio goes. I think it's groundbreaking in how they're making it work. I mean, man, could you imagine if there's a way to get rid of coax in radios? Maybe, I don't know, maybe HF would be lost less if we did that too. I know VHF, UHF could benefit. That's a neat idea, doing it over Ethernet for sure. Let's welcome some guests. This Saturday, Carlos is joining us, Kilo Delta 9 Oscar Lima November. We're going to talk Parachute Mobile with him. Please join us. It's noon Pacific here in the States, 3 p.m. in the Eastern Time Zone. Then on Saturday, September 3rd, meet Gary Pierce, his call sign Kilo November 4 Alpha Quebec. He'll be talking about his YouTube channel and the history of it as well. Gary's been around a long time, and I'm grateful that he's part of the show. Then that following Friday, this is going to be a Friday show, September 9th at 2300 UTC. That's 4 p.m. here in the the Pacific Time Zone, and 7 p.m. Eastern. Meet Hayden from Ham Radio DX down in Australia. That's going to be such an amazing opportunity to meet him. He's really working hard to put out some videos and keep us informed with some really good information. I'm excited to have Hayden join us on September the 9th. Then the next day, back-to-back shows, join us to meet Brandon, Whiskey 1 Sierra India from HamTestOnline. He's going to show us how they can help you get licensed or license your way up. Please join us that show. Be on Saturday, September 10th, 1900 UTC, 8 p.m. London, 3 p.m. in the the Central Time. Wow, hello, Larry's brand new to this. Sorry, it's going to be 3 p.m. in the Eastern Time Zone and noon Pacific. Okay, maybe if I did it backwards, I wouldn't have that problem. Who knows? That's good to see you guys. Happy Monday. Let's get back to the question today. What controls do you use most on your amateur radio? Let us know in the comment section, and we'll make it part of today's show, right? It's a good day. Acid drop. Oh my gosh, Siobhan is here. Hi, Siobhan. Hi. We're going to share some pictures from your vacation. She was in San Francisco. She's from Ireland and living in the UK right now. University professor. She's brilliant. Oh my gosh. This right here, this little lady right here is so doggone smart. And she's joining us for her vacation in Florida. It's nice to have you, Siobhan. Thank you. We've missed you, girl. We really have. Really have. Let's see. Jenna says regarding questions that we just did on the general license, if the answer was A, I would pitch a fit. Oh my. Coastal Waves and Wires, welcome. Good to have you. Some actually experience the different band plans now. That's good. It's interesting if you move, like for people that are in region 2, right? We've got a lot of frequencies we can use. And folks coming over from region 1, maybe on the holiday or something, have just a great time being able to use frequencies that they're not used to. And I believe you're right now in Poland, right? You're in Poland working there. And that would be different because now the band plan is very different than it is here in region 2. Thank you. It's nice to have you part of the show. That's cool. That's cool. Got a good group. Country Strong is here. It's a nice group. Thank you for coming today. I really do appreciate you being here. We're going to put some Discord stuff up for you in just a little bit. Plus, we'll have your comments to today's question, which is, what controls do you use most on your radio? If I was in shortwave, if I was doing shortwave work, I would definitely use BFO if I was trying to DX ham, but I also would use my RF gain knob. That'd be really important to me to be able to pick up stations. The other thing with shortwave, which is different than ham, you typically have an antenna somewhere, right? On shortwave, you have a radio, but you don't necessarily have a permanent antenna. You take your radio, like for me, I take it outdoors into the field. I'll run a long wire antenna and I'll make some neat contacts where I'll listen find some stations, try and write down some notes so I can get an EQSL or QSL card back. With ham radio, it's very different. It's so different from shortwave. First of all, the signals are weaker, much weaker, and they have more fade to them. That's something I observed the first few months of being a ham. The second thing is you tend to use things like bandpass filtering a lot because you're trying to get the noise out. Digital noise reduction is also really big. If you use digital noise reduction to be your ally, you can do very well with it. But the other thing I found that's very interesting about amateur radio versus shortwave, in amateur radio, they have high and low cut filters so you can make the incoming signal good for your ears. It may not be perfect for someone else's hearing, but for your ears, it works just perfect so you can hear the call sign of somebody or maybe the signal report. Working in amateur radio is almost like a chemistry set. You've got so many tools right in front of you and you use them to the best of your ability. I give a lot of amateurs, people in ham radio, a ton of credit because there is so much they can do with their radios and so much they accomplish out of something so small. Remember, in shortwave, you've got a station that's transmitting sometimes 100,000 watts or usually 50,000 watts out of the transmitter, but they're going through gain antennas, which make it sound like it's over 1 million watts of power going in one direction. It's phenomenal. But on amateur radio, sometimes you're hearing someone like 5 watts that's coming from 7,000 miles away. It's phenomenal how ham radio works. And to me, that's the challenge I love. And what I love about being a licensed ham, that receiving skill that you have to really massage the signal to bring it in. I give all of you guys credit who've done this for multiple decades. Kudos to you for what you do. It is a fun thing to receive some cool signals. Man, I remember DX Worldwide last November, and I've told this story before. I'll go quick. Story time with Larry. I'm sorry. I picked up a guy in Holland who was literally being climbed over, and I know the guy couldn't hear him on either side. About 2.7 over was, no, 2.5 over was a guy that was at S7, and then the other side, the guy was like an S9. In between, there was just enough people calling the guy in Holland that the two on the outside weren't closing in his frequency anymore. But man, it took me like 30 minutes, maybe, no, 20 minutes to make that one call on the Yaesu 5000 there. I just kept working and working and working. Finally got him in, but I had his band pass down to 1.8 kilohertz, and I had like I believe the VRF, the VRF control was like at I forget what I had it at. That was a long time ago, but I used the variable RF on it, and I used the bandpass filter, and I used the contour. I used every tool in that toolbox to try and get that signal in, and thankfully made the call to Holland. I was so excited, man. That was awesome. You guys in amateur radio, my thoughts and my kudos go out to you for what you accomplish. It's amazing. Really is. I want to welcome Stuart from the UK. Stuart, it's nice to have you. Mike Zero, Tango, Quebec. Hi all, late on parade. You're here and we're grateful you are. Thanks for coming, my friend. Nice to have you. Let me see. I want to make sure I get everybody that we don't lose anybody here on the stream that you've said. Here we go. And there's Charlie. Yeah. And he's talking about that when you get to super high frequencies in the gigahertz, how lossy coax is. And this is why a lot of people use hardline between their stack and their antenna tower. Charlie from Red Summit RF, November Juliet 7 Victor. Yeah, for 440, you lose 80%-ish on RG8X for 100 feet. Big problem for high frequencies. That's why what Icom did to come up with a solution here of actually using Ethernet cable was brilliant. Man, unbelievable. I wonder if we'll ever do that again. You know, with maybe change amateur radios to do that. Be interesting. Charlie goes on, similar to my mesh network setup, my router is out of the mast to reduce loss. LAN runs into my house. Yep, makes a big difference. I'm grateful you guys are here. And by the way, here we go. InfoDog, Ubiquity with hotspots do the same. Put the transmitter right under the antenna, no feed line. Thank you. Nice comment. Nice to see you again. Please come back. That's nice to come back. Good to have you. I think we're good. Oh, Andy Kelly, Kenwood was there with a prototype. Nice. Nice. Ken was there with a prototype radio. Very, very cool. And are you talking Huntsville, or are you talking at the Japan, the Tokyo Ham Fair? Let me know. Be interesting to know. Yeah. Tom, who is licensed in the States, but on the SEPT agreement in Bulgaria, and also has a second license. No kidding. In Bahrain, Alpha 92 Golf Whiskey, waveguides are used in those frequencies, so having the transmitter at the antenna makes a lot of sense. I think this is a fantastic solution. Doing it with LAN was really, really cool. That was a very cool idea that they came up with. And the 905 would be useful for cooking sausages. No, it would be good for making calls, man. Ron Walensky, Washington State. Radios used in microwave bands are very expensive and rare, or people homebrew radios. He's right. He's right. So a commercially made radio that works on the microwave bands that you can own yourself, similar to the 705 in dimension. Wow. That's pretty cool. It opens up a lot of bands for us. That's the best part. Ron says, it's amazing how far you can get with some 500 milliwatt in the microwave bands. Check out Hayden's channel. He uses microwaves. And that's Hayden's channel is at Ham Radio DX here on YouTube. Wonderful, mate. Good man. He's a good man. Microwave is tough, but if you have a gain antenna, even at 500 milliwatts, you can make amazing calls. You really can. I think this will be a very cool radio. I'd love to try it out for a weekend. Wouldn't you? Try it out for a weekend, see how you like it. Because we're talking about working, you can still work 2 meters with it. You can still work 440. But then all of a sudden 23 SEMS is there. And then you get up to 2.4 gig and then 5.6 and 10. Unbelievable. Just make sure you have the antennas for everything. It's a neat little radio, I think. Charlie, I've made CW contact to Oregon with 300 milliwatts, but that wasn't on microwave. Don't underestimate, QRPP. Yep, it really was great. And if you get tropospheric ducting, add that. Okay, so you got microwave radio, tropospheric duct, you've got a cold air mass trapping a warm air mass above, right? Then the signal can go hundreds of miles. It's phenomenal. And even if it's 500 milliwatts, it'll do really good. I'm interested to see what it'll do. I really do. Don says on his Sun SDR and Flex radio, he uses the mouse the most. Thank you, Don. And the reason why is because these are software-defined radios that you control via computer. Isn't that cool? Ham radio's changed so much. So much. Siobhan, on vacation here in the States, today's question, I use them all until I find the right one that does what I need it to do. Okay. It's so good to see you, girl. Gosh, we've missed you. We really have. I know you've had a fun trip. We'll share some of your photos to end the show from this. It'll be fun. Jeff from Eastern Tennessee, November 4, Papa Oscar Delta. I've never been a big RF gain knob user. Always keep it maxed. I do a lot of other adjustments, though. Notch and bandwidth especially. A lot of people are talking bandwidth today. Have you noticed that? Bandwidth is really mentioned a lot. Jeff, thank you very much. Thank you. Yep. And I know maybe by the time you get home, acid drop, it'll be there. Wouldn't that be cool if your Flex was waiting for you? Andy Kelly, okay, in Japan. Yeah, I was thinking that. That's cool. I would love to, I'm going to have to look for that video because I'd like to see it. I'm sure they put that out because people have been talking for a long time about Kenwood maybe being out of business. No, that's not true. They're working on something pretty special. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Andy, thanks for the tip. I'll look for that. And Rodney from Holland, thank you. You're so kind. Bless your heart. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Bless your heart, mate. It's good to have you, Rodney. Good friend. It's a good friend. All the way from Holland. Infodog, long time ago, I built a 10-element 2-meter Yagi and fed it with 100 feet of 1-inch ladder line. Almost zero loss. And that's true. Notice he's saying he's on 2 meters, right? On VHF, it's not as bad as when you get up to microwave. It's just light years different. But I love he used ladder line. That's pretty sweet. Thanks a lot for adding that to the show. That's neat. I love ladder line. Ladder line's fun to use. Really is. Welcome from Montana, Spike, submarine radio guy now. He said I used to tune the transmitters on the sub with a sledgehammer. Oh, no, can't be true. That's great. My friends, we're going to get into the Angry Hams and some trivia. Let's first find out how the show's going upstairs. And it's not anything that we mean, right? We're trying to be mean. But there's kind of there's a thing about people that are a little older in amateur radio that maybe get a little cranky. And so in a way that we try and do it is to make it more fun. So let's take a look at the Angry Hams, in quotes, Angry Hams. See how they feel about today's show.
Well, the show is speeding along very quickly this evening.
Oh, yes. Someone must have told him it's harder to hit a moving target.
Of course. Okay, this is the first of 3 trivia questions. I hope you enjoy the pop trivia at the end. Currently, the world is just beating North America to death. It's not been very fun this month for North America. Currently, and by the way, Siobhan, if you answer the question first, you're in North America, that's the points today, okay? We need all the help we can get here. 125-85 is the score. No kidding. First question, which space shuttle carried Owen Garriott, Whiskey 5 Lima, Foxtrot Lima, into space? All right, which one? Was it A, the Discovery, B, the Endeavour, C, Columbia, or D, the Challenger? We're looking for the space shuttle that carried Owen Garriott. He was a ham, one of the first scientists actually to become an astronaut. 1965, believe it or not. Whiskey 5 Lima, Fox Lima into space. A is Discovery, B is Endeavour, C is Columbia, and D is Challenger. Good luck. First one in, Winan from Africa. He answers A, the Discovery. Winan, oh man. And Winan, he's trying really hard. He's really trying hard to get in these trivia questions. And this time he came in first. I'm proud of you, buddy. I really am. Winan says it was a Discovery, and that is not the right one. Next up, Andy New, Mike 7 Charlie Union November from the UK. He answers B, the Endeavour. And that is incorrect. Sorry, Andy. Next up, Tom in Bahrain, Alpha 92 Golf Whiskey, Alpha Echo 1 Tango Papa, North America. He answers C, Columbia, and he got it correct. Nice job, Tom. Yeah, it was a Columbia. Owen Garriott, interesting story about Owen. He was one of the first scientists to be able to become an astronaut back in the day. 1965, believe it or not. Yeah, he was accepted in a NASA's scientist astronaut program way back in 65. He went on actually 2 space missions. In 73, he was the science pilot on Skylab 3. Whoa. 59-day mission to the Skylab space station that set a new record for the longest space flight. Then in 1983, he was a mission specialist on STS-9, a 10-day flight of the Space Shuttle Columbia that carried Spacelab, a science laboratory built by the European Space Agency. So Tom, all the way in Bahrain. I'm sure you're going to give the points to whoever's behind. Let me know for sure, though, would you? Congratulations, Tom. Yeah, Owen Garriott, he got that right. That is the Columbia. And his second trip to Whiskey 3 Mike Papa Golf. That's Rod. He got it right as well. So did Charlie. So did Jeff. Jenna just missed by a hair. Same with Winan. Stuart got it right. Tony got it right. Spike in Montana just missed it by a hair. Eamon got it. Ron barely. And Siobhan says C and D sadly killed 14 people. Yeah, it's too bad what happened to the space shuttle. But, we still honor the history, right? Andy Cowley, 2 Echo 0, Romeo Echo Echo had B. And, of course, Jenna, our dear friend, got C. All right, next question. Second of 3. When novices had distinctive call sign prefixes, what other prefix was used besides Whiskey November and Kilo November? So this is back in the day, here in the States, right? When novices had distinctive call sign prefixes, besides Whiskey November and Kilo November, what was the third one? Was it A, November November, B, November Oscar, C, Whiskey November, or D, Whiskey Zulu? Let me know, please, with A, B, C, or D. First one right gets the points. Good luck. This is a kind of a repeat question here. Tom, give the points to America. Yeah! Okay. 125-90. Getting closer now. That's nice. Thank you, Tom. That's nice. All right, next question. Here we go. By the way, Eamon Azar adds, Garriott recorded the idea on our local repeater back in the 1990s, W9 Foxtrot X-Ray Tango. That's cool. That's pretty cool. Jeff in Eastern Tennessee, he saw the Space Shuttle Discovery's last launch with his own eyes when he was in the 7th grade. He also saw Columbia launch for the last time from a 7-Eleven parking lot in Titusville. Those were tough times. They really were. First one, Andy New, Mike 7, Charlie November. Answers C, Whiskey Victoria, and he is right. Well done, Andy. Well done. Yeah, it is WV. That is the right one. And, you know, this was back in the day. It's not there the way anymore. Just missing it, by the way. Jenna in Georgia. Same thing with Rod. And Charlie had A, Winan with C. Will had A. Andy had A. Cliff Bolts with A. Jeff with D. Kill with D. Ron says B. Guessing. That's okay, buddy. Worked out just fine. Winan with A. Robert with A. And my dear friend Juan Walensky in Monroe. Ron, it's always nice to have you. Thank you for being here. November 8, Whiskey Charlie Romeo had A. Kevin has Z, and we're grateful for that. Anders joins the show. Hi, Anders, all the way from Norway, pardon me. Lima Bravo 3 Bravo Juliet. Hello to all. I got to go, but maybe come online on Discord. Little bad time now. 7322 Anders, thanks for coming. I'll have a picture of you later on today. Third question is pop trivia. Here we go. What's the most populated city in the world? Okay, we asked yesterday the most dense city. That's a totally different question. This is the most populated city in the world. Is it A, Tokyo, Japan? Is it B, Sao Paulo, Brazil? Is it C, Delhi, India? Or D, Shanghai, China? A, B, C, or D? First one in with the right answer gets the points. Good luck. It's currently 130 to 90. The world is beating it because Andy New keeps resetting his internet browser to be first in. And that's the honest truth, what he's doing. That's what he's doing. He's playing with that internet, getting in there first without lag. Bless his heart. Andy New, again, Mike 7, Charlie November. One of these days, Andy, I'm just going to pick number 3 because I won't let you keep doing that. He picks A, Tokyo, Japan. He's right. There we go. All right, Andy, this is the last one for a while, okay? It is A, Tokyo. 37,435,191 people. Yep, in Tokyo. Next comes Delhi. That's actually true. B is Delhi. 29,399 and 141 people. Shanghai, China comes in at 26,317 and 104 people. So, wow, almost 26,000, well, to over 26, almost 26,500. A lot of people there. Sao Paulo, Brazil comes in fourth with 21,846,507. 846,507. These are really big cities. No North American city, by the way, made the list. Here's the top 10. Notice there are no North American cities at all here. It's Tokyo, Delhi, Shanghai, Sao Paulo, Mexico City, Cairo, Dhaka, Mumbai, Beijing, and Osaka. That's the list. Here is a good look of Tokyo at twilight. There you go. And you can see, and look, that one thing, it looks like it is the Eiffel Tower. That's not, it's actually, that's the tree we had the other night. We talked about that. Going down into downtown Tokyo, this was their version. They wanted to have something like Times Square, and they have it. It's beautiful there. And here it is at night. And there is the big tree and the beautiful, nice little restaurant at the top of that building. So if you take a look here, the thing that looks like the Eiffel Tower, there's a great restaurant there at the Tokyo Skytree. I couldn't think of the name. It's right. It's the Tokyo Skytree. That's what it is, the tall building there. And people on the observation deck. They also got a restaurant up there. Congratulations to Andy New, Mike 7, Charlie November for getting that one right. Well done. All right. Also on that one, by the way, Nikolai with D, Charlie, Red Summit RF had C, Jenna with D, William had C, Jeff with C, and Ron with D. Siobhan has C. Tom says maybe C. Eamon with C. And by the way, when they're talking about these different ones, it's these cities, but they're not that far away. Tokyo, way ahead of the last three. Look at that, how close the last three are. They're within about 8 million people. Man. Robert Varner had C, Andy Kelly with C, Cliff with C, and Rodney with A. Winan with C, Spike with A, and Winan with A. And yep, that's a lot of sushi every day. You're right. Daniel from New Hampshire. Wow, I'm moving to a town of 4,000 people. Whoa, that's awesome. Whew.
Mighty hospitable of you.
I guess so. That's great. Spike lives in a town of 750. Ooh, that's good. There you go. And Charlie, New York, 8.8 is the best he can do. Winan in Africa lives in a town of 10. That's good. Yeah, why not? We'll play it twice today for you, Winan. There you go. William Myers, just a lot more people than Bruce, Wisconsin. 789 people there. Well, ours is just a little over 10,000 here in this town. We first moved in, it was around 8,800, but the new census came out. Yeah. Tom in Bahrain grew up in Harmony, Maine with 700 folks. Yep. Ron in Canada, been there, but was not as crazy as it was back in 2015. And Charlie, correction, 8.9 million people for New York City. Yeah. It used to be one of the biggest cities in the world. Jeff in Eastern Tennessee, my closest two cities are under 5,000 and 2,000 people. I'm in between them. All right, my friends, let's take a look at our Discord channel. We got lots of stuff there and some really cool pictures to show you today. Let's turn this one up today. It'll be fun.
KHJ Los Angeles.
Portions of the day's programming are reproduced by means of electrical transcriptions or tape recordings.
Going back to Huntsville, take a look at some photos from the weekend. Here's one from Jeff, Huntsville HamFest. Taking a look at this from the Gigapart site, right? Gigaparts, nice work, Jeff. This is good. And here's Anders in Holland, Lima Bravo 3 Bravo Juliet, going on the expedition. Anders, his log, he's got a couple there, but not a big day. He stuck it out, though. He stuck it out. Another photo from near Huntsville. Jeff got this picture of this cabin, but then take a look at this picture. Oh, man, the ground and this, everything from the sky just poured down right there in Huntsville during that event. Can you imagine? Oh. I kind of like this thunder. Let's get back to Everclear. There you go. All right. Back to where we were. Here we go. This is the radio that Tom talked about. This is great. This is a Sony ICF 6800W. Look at how cool the lines are on this. And this was really cutting edge and very expensive for Sony back in the early 80s. Good stuff, Tom. Thank you for this. Again, if you're wondering, that's an ICF 6800W. Tom was bidding on it, but it went over $300. Thank you, Tom. Michael, Kilo Fox 4, Bravo Oscar Golf, got in the fun photo of him at Huntsville. This is right before he smiled, I think. Michael, thank you for the photo. Lima Bravo 3 Bravo Juliet, there's Anders working at night. And there's his equipment, having a good old time. And here is Jeff from Huntsville. Jeff loves to hang around the YouTube people. So there's Josh on the left, and it is Jason on the right, hanging out together, having a good old time at the Huntsville HamFest, which is, by the way, the friendliest HamFest ever. It's supposed to be a lot of fun there. So, Jeff, thanks for the photos. Here's one from Mike. Say hello to Ab, our pup. Beautiful photo. Thank you, Jeff. Mike. Thank you for that. That's a nice photo. Then, not to be outdone, we get a 4-month picture there from Steve in the UK. Thank you, Steve. This is his pup at 4 weeks old. We kind of watching his puppy grow up, which has been a lot of fun. Steve, thanks for that. 2 Echo 0 X-Ray Sierra Hotel. Thank you, mate. Siobhan with photos from her vacation. Look at this. Yeah, 4 beautiful ladies right there. Take a look at that. This is when they were in the western states of North America. And here is one in San Francisco Bay. Take a look at that. If you carefully look, you're going to see a very special bridge to the left. Look at that. Look at that. Nice photo, Siobhan. This is the last one. Nice little photo of her. She loves the mood photos. You know, these mood photos are really sweet. This nice photo of her. Take a look. This is her on her vacation. Have a little bit of fun. Siobhan, thank you for sending this. Hope you enjoy your vacation. Thanks for sharing it with all of us. That's pretty sweet. That is so doggone cool. I really do think that. I really enjoyed seeing that. Got a kick out. I got a kick out of what you said about Disney World. That was hilarious. Gosh, brought back a funny memory to me. Oh man, Siobhan, all the way in having a good time in the States here. Went from San Francisco all the way across country to Orlando to see the Disney parks. A lot of fun. If you want to send us a photo, join us on our Discord channel. Easy way to do so. Find us on ham-radio-live. Easy way to do it. And make it part of the show. We'd love to do that. All right, before we close the show, today we had a topic question, which was about what radio controls you use on your radio. What controls you use the most? Of all of you, the number one thing was the bandwidth adjustment. And that's very true. When you're trying to pull in a weak signal, bandwidth is huge. It really is. That's one of those things that we use a lot in amateur radio. And I'll get your final comments. But the second most talked about was noise reduction. DNR was second. So bandwidth and DNR were pretty big. Thanks a lot for your comments throughout the show. It makes it go good when you guys get to be a part of it. Thank you guys very, very much. Siobhan, final comments on the show. Acid drop. This is Siobhan. Dublin, Ireland has about 560,000 people. I'd love to go someday. Gosh, I'd love to see that city. I'd love to. Daniel, New Hampshire, looking forward to the lower radio noise. The city I'm in, Manchester, super noisy. When you move, it will. And, for people tonight, your noise floors are down. It's going to be a lot better on 40 and 80 tonight. Not as loud. Still some static crashes, but it won't be too bad. It won't be too bad. Spike in Montana, Californians seem to be infesting small towns in Montana since COVID. I think a lot of Californians are moving everywhere. But California, it's losing people. So, people are leaving the state, unfortunately. And that's too bad. Ron Walensky, 19,000 people in the town he lives in, Monroe, Washington. Kevin O'Doublehan in Ireland. I have family in Dublin. Nice place. Nice place. Rod Bish, Lost Springs, Wyoming. 2018 population is only 1.
No!
Can you imagine? Where do you go for vacation? No, to get groceries, right? You have to go somewhere new, right? Lost Springs. I have to look at that on a map. Thank you, Rod. That's a neat little comment about Lost Springs. Population 1. Andy knew, yeah, that Sony was pretty. It's a beautiful radio. Tom, thanks for saying that. When I saw that radio, I was like, man, I had one of these. I really did. And I remembered to this day, it was so cool because, you had the analog dial at the bottom and then you had digital readout. So Sony mixed both up. It made it fun with that radio. That was really unique about the Sony 6800W. Yeah, neat radio. A lot of fun. Good selective radio. Jeff, in East Tennessee, we had dime-sized hail at the cabin. I bet. It looked crazy. That weather looked awful, man. Daniel says, I still have my old Walkman from the 90s. Still works, too. I got one like that. My cousin has, you remember from Home Alone, where he had Home Alone 2, where he had the Talk Boy? She still has her, and it works. She still has hers. She got it as a Christmas present. And her favorite movie is Home Alone. It's interesting about that. Yeah. Jeff says, parked in front of Michael, Kilo Fox 4 Bravo Oscar Golf, and his dad in the garage under the convention center. Got to meet him in person. That's fun. When you get some good people and get to meet that you've talked to either here or on the radio. Makes it fun, doesn't it? Jeff, thanks for the comment. Siobhan says it was the first one they were using for the tours. I got a free ride because my hair matched. That's good. Tom, have a nice evening. Andy says Bristol, about 600,000 population, and that would be in metric, right, Andy? I think so, right? Convert that to states. Anyway, guys, we're going to get you going. We want to thank you for watching the show. We try and help people to get into amateur radio and help understand it's not too hard to do this. If you want to get your license, a good way to do it is to contact a big club like the Radio Society of Great Britain. Wonderful people, and they help people around the world, literally. Just contact them and contact us. Let them know you want your license and where you're from. They'll then send you an email back that will have an amateur radio club as close to you as possible. They'll help you get on the air. www.rsgb.org. Speaking of Great Britain, we have a sign-off, the final sign-off on radio today from BBC 5. My name's Larry. My call sign in amateur radio is Kilo 7 Hotel November. Thanks for watching today's show, wherever you may be in this beautiful world. Even if you're by a tree like Anders is, it's awesome to spend time with all of you guys. God bless you wherever you may be, and goodbye, everybody.
We seem to be in a radio studio that's floating in an infinite black void.
Just a green base table.
Some old black Bakelite headphones.
And a solitary antique BBC microphone staring at us like a fly's eyeball.
Don't worry, Earl. We can't be dead yet. Here's a copy of the Radio Times.
Are we in it?
Yes. Look, lots of Radio 5 programmes to be proud of.
Euromix?
Look at that. It's disappeared into the ether.
Vibe?
Danny Baker.
That flew straight off to Radio 1. Look at this. Fantasy Football League.
That flew straight off to BBC 2.
And look at Radio 5 Drama.
Gone straight to Radio 4.
There's only one programme left.
What is it?
Nigel and Earl Sort Out Radio 5. Was written by Joe Turner and Martin Jameson.
It starred Andrew Dunn and Fine Time Fontaine.
I bet that's not his real name.
Joanna Brooks, Chris Emmett and Robert Harley.
The production assistant was Kim Wilson.
The studio managers were Roger Danes and Richard Beadsmore.
And it was produced by Liz Anstey. That's gone too.
Everything's gone.
All that's left is this large Bakelite and copper antique switch.
Read the label, Earl.
Radio 5 on, off.
Shall we do it, Earl?
Hold my hand, Nigel.
Be brave, Earl. Let's pull the switch together.
I love you, Nigel.
I love you, Earl. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, hang on a minute, Nigel.
This is BBC Radio broadcasting on 909 and 693 AM. The news with Ricky Salmon and Steve May. 13 soldiers have been hurt in a road crash in Devon. Their army lorry, which was travelling in convoy, is thought to have gone down a bank and overturned after leaving the A303 near Honiton. Fort. Steve May. These transmitters are now closing down for the night, but 1FM continues with Anne Nightingale, and at 1 o'clock it's Claire Sturgis. On Radio 2 now, Steve Madden presents Night Ride. From 5 o'clock in the morning, this frequency will carry the new News and Sport network, Radio 5 Live. Morning Report with Jane Garvey will be followed at 6 by the breakfast programme presented by Peter Allen. But for now, it's good night.
Listen as they pull the carrier down.
Has this ever happened to you? From today, dialing 999 won't get you the emergency services. And that's not the only thing that's changing. Nicer ambulances, faster response times, and better-looking drivers mean they're not just the emergency services, they're your emergency services. So, remember the new number. That's...
I've had a bit of a tumble.
Well, that's easy to remember. 0118 999 88199 9119 7253.
Why they just... Hey, who turned out the lights?